Bill, call the roll.
Am I here?
Commissioner Prater, Commissioner Bowser, and Mayor Forster. Here. This meeting is called to kind of update you on the town meeting that we had on April the 9th, 2012. It's to kind of tell you what we've done since we've been trying to plan the budget and the many meetings that we've had. We've met about every Monday, I believe. Isn't that right, folks? Since we had either 5 to 7 meetings a month trying to put everything together. So we would like to address what we have accomplished, and if you have any questions after that time, we'd be glad to answer them for you. But let's see, where do we want to start? One thing that we're working on is countywide dispatching that will be worked out of Hickman. And well, let me back up just a minute. I don't know if everybody knows our new city manager, Cub Stokes. He's our new city manager. We're glad to have him aboard. He's very, well, he's a Goodyear employee, past Goodyear employee, and we're just glad to have him on board in our next endeavors. Okay. Like I told you, we're starting working on county dispatching, and it will serve all departments. Cub has attended some meetings, and he's in the process. Would you like to give us an update on that, Cub? What do you know about it at this point in time?
Several things come into play here, and one is duplication or triplication of efforts. You've got the county, you've got the city of Hickman, you've got the city of Fulton, all dispatching to various departments and areas. By combining all dispatching into one, let the county be in charge of dispatching for Hickman, Fulton, the county, the sheriff's department. Potentially there's room for even other cities, counties, or entities to pay for their services through the county. Of course, in our case, it will mean elimination of some job positions, but our dispatchers will be interviewed by the county, and with the opportunity, possibility of retaining employment as a county employee, not a city of Fulton or city of Hickman employee. In turn, what that does with financial grants and aid, the county as a whole has a little more strength or opportunity to get money for one entity instead of Fulton getting a little bit, county getting a little bit, Hickman getting a little bit, or none at all. The power is in numbers, so to speak. So that's gonna be a new avenue. I've met with Mayor of Hickman and the county judge last week. We should hear something tomorrow on some other things that we discussed there, but we're looking at hopefully have all this in place in 60 days. So that's the big thing going on. And again, I call it knocking down barriers, knocking down control barriers. I've been fortunate enough in my lifetime to live in Hickman, live in Fulton, and been a county resident all my life. So I've got, I think, a good opportunity and good working relationship with all three entities. And from what I've heard in these meetings, it's real good. It sounds like it's going to be done in a first-class manner. And the main thing is that the citizens of the county never notice the difference in the service that they're getting. So, and it's a savings to the city of Fulton in our budget.
Okay. And I know something that was mentioned last time too was code enforcement. Everybody was concerned about code enforcement. And that is something that is certainly not been dismissed from everything we've been discussing. We certainly want to do code enforcement. We're looking at a couple of different options on that, and Cub is working on that as well with the police department, as well as the dog pound, and kind of combining some of those things to see if we can't make that all work together. I know something else that was discussed was...
Excuse me, Mayor.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Basically, we were suggesting that we gave some in the budget process, we gave some funding back to the police department to deal with animal control as well as code enforcement. Those were two items that the meeting on April 9th revealed that the citizens were very concerned about. And so that's one way of doing it. The chief is to put that responsibility into the police department, and hopefully we can do both animal control and code enforcement through some shifts, and hopefully we can begin to respond to that as you want us to.
I'll add to that. Probably in the next week or so, we'll be advertising for that position. Terry's been on vacation, and I'm glad he came today. He's going back on vacation after this meeting. But we haven't had a chance to talk since last week, but a combination of an animal control officer / code enforcement officer, and depending on who that individual is, we'll hopefully do more things for that individual, utilize that time. Great, too.
Something else that was brought up at the meeting, I have my minutes from the meeting, it was lighting the exits off the parkway. You know, we're the only exits in Kentucky with no light. And so Bubba has written letters and gotten answers. I think Garrett had called people, I have called people, we've written letters, and now the county has gotten involved. So we're asking for studies to be done to see how this can be accomplished. So that's kind of where we are at this point as far as lighting the exits off the Parkway to Fulton. Let's see. Strategic planning. Bill, you want to talk about strategic planning?
I can. One of the things that was discussed rather in some lengthy fashion at the April 9th meeting from a variety of people was the need to do some long-range planning, strategic planning, looking at ourselves and deciding where is it that we want our town to be next year, and next year, and next year. What are our priorities? What are our issues? How can we deal with them best? And so there was a good number of people at that meeting that said we really do need to get into some strategic planning. We have invested into that in the 2013 budget. We would, Allison, I believe you mentioned the other night that we began to look at an ordinance with respect to strategic planning.
Yes, we are. We are looking at forming a committee that is more geared and going to be focused more in that specific area to address some of those needs.
Alana, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You have a planning and zoning commission, is that correct?
Yes, we do.
How many members do you have on that board?
I can answer that question, these 4 or 5.
Okay, I understand you have a vacancy, right?
I don't know at this point in time, and I don't know how that's going to work after we start this other meeting. Okay?
One of the things we would like to say is that we're looking for a few good people who would like to serve on that strategic planning committee, people with expertise in planning, people who have an interest in planning.
Sir, I'll be glad to serve. I don't have that much expertise, but my dad was a state representative. He was the postmaster for 30-odd years, and I have a little background in politics. I think I'd love to serve on that committee. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I think what some of us have talked, I think what we'd like to do is to leave a sign-up sheet here, and then perhaps we can even go to
Accept
an
applications.
application process where people can express their interest, and we can begin to get a variety of people, not only people like yourself, but just everyday citizens as well as business people, people who have had experience in this area. We'd like to have all of those folks on there. So, thank you very much.
I think it's very important to get the economic development folks on this planning. That's one of the most important groups to have.
Exactly. That's why we thought if we had applications and people, we could see their expertise in the fields that we're going to be addressing, and that way we could choose from them the people that would be best to serve on this committee. And if they want to fill out an application or tell us what their expertise are, then it's submitted to Helen at City Hall, then we can kind of go that route. Is that okay, Bill?
Yes, and obviously, the strategic plan, once we begin to develop it, obviously that would drive many of the issues that we undertake in the future. We want to deal with entryways or cleaning up our entryways to our town, et cetera, et cetera. Those would be a part of the strategic plan. We wouldn't just do it haphazardly. But you're exactly right. Thank you for that.
Something else that I've been working on, I have been in contact with the governor's office and his chief of staff, Ron Hayes. Do plan to go to Frankfurt on July the 24th. I think Eddie's going and some people from the county, and Cub and I are going, and we're going to meet with the Economic Development Cabinet, and my concern is jobs for this community, and that's when I started calling the governor. And I understand he wants to meet with us, and I'm excited about that because we've got to get something going. We've got to get something going, and I want to get his feet wet too. Excuse me.
Sorry.
Excuse me. I want to get something started about that, and that way we can kind of see what his feelings are on it, because he has expressed a desire to meet with us. Okay. Yes, Nancy?
His wife is my sorority sister.
Okay.
So
very good.
I'll see what I can do. Okay?
Okay. But anyway, that's kind of where we are on that. So what else do we need to address, guys?
The dilapidated buildings, the cleaning up of the
Okay.
mass foreclosure. One of the things that was also discussed at great length at the April 9th meeting was the fact that we have a number of properties, I think, David, 52 or so.
That was just a personal, the personal list that we made. Yes, absolutely.
50-something or thereabouts.
In about 30 minutes, so there's a lot more than that. But
Properties in our town that are not occupied, they're unsafe, they're unsightly, and we are planning, we've invested part of our budget in 2013 into the effort of mass foreclosure, Allison, and to raise those buildings and get them back, get the lots at least sold, and get them back on the tax roll.
And maybe get them off our mowing list somehow, some way.
This mowing list.
Mowing list, Bubba's mowing list is longer and longer as we tear down more of these buildings. But we have someone's met with Cub wanting to buy one, and we'll talk about that in our meeting, our city commission meeting. And he wants to bring it up to Cub. So that sounds promising. So we'll have to check on that with Ms. Allison and see what avenues we need to go on that.
Yes, it's a lengthy process to get one of those done from beginning to end, but we need to start again. We've done several already, and we need to do some more.
Okay, Cub, is there anything else you would like to address at this time?
I would just like to ask for everybody's support and endeavors. The Let's Paint the Town campaign has been very successful. It's winding down. That doesn't mean we stop there. There's going to be other, there's other things to do. And the strategic planning, it's not all about economic development, but that's a big part of it. And, but there are other things that the city can do, the county can do, individuals who have that, I guess the resource can be a big part in economic development, from local matches or investments and things of that nature. But, of course, the biggest thing is lack of jobs, and we've got to do that, but we've also got to portray an image that we're trying to help and do for ourselves, and not depending on a grant from Washington or a grant from Frankfurt to just pour into a small town in western Kentucky when the state ends at Bowling Green. You know, we've got 6,800 votes in Fulton County. No politician's gonna come down here when he goes to a neighborhood in Louisville that's got 15,000 votes. You know, so we've got to do for ourselves, and we've got to spend time in Frankfurt. I've been to Frankfurt one time in my life, and that was 30 years ago with Judge Everett time. But I imagine I'll be going quite often. But we've got to promote ourselves, and we've got to spend our money wisely in areas that are needed. And I think there's a lot of energy both in the younger generation and my generation and the older generation. So, you know, we're not dead yet. We've got an opportunity to, so to speak, stop the bleeding. Bill?
One of the things that y'all probably have heard about already is our clinic that we're trying to open up for the working poor. We're not going to be able to get IBM or Apple to locate a plant here. But what we can do, once we're right there, we're almost this close to getting a building and our funding, and we're developing a partnership with Bethel University's PA program. And so we'll have a clinic in South Fulton. And one of the things we can offer small mom and pop businesses, if they come in and say, we're going to hire 10 people, but we don't have enough money to pay for their health care insurance, what we can, I think, I'm hoping, what we can do is at least offer them good, decent primary care for next to nothing. So keep that in mind as a possible attraction, because healthcare is in an unbelievable flux and mess right now.
One other thing we're starting on is with this generation, the younger generation, I guess everybody is more website based.
Yep.
And that's, we're in the process of updating the City of Fulton's website to make it progressive, make it attractive. That'd be something, once y'all get ready,
Up and running.
that we can put on there.
Absolutely.
George?
Well, I love your idea of trying to self-help. I don't think very many of you will know it, but that's what we actually did with the health department on renovating the health department building here in Fulton. I mean, everybody will, first of all, we'll get a grant. Well, if they got a grant, who knows what, but it's going to be limited to $300,000, and that only covered a fraction of what you were going to serve. Pat Murray, or Mayfield, rather, was going to grab off, what, 20%? And that's for the big enough project to come under the state's wage hour law. And so consequently, you've been spending a ton of money and getting very little for it. It's been a very poor quality building. And instead, we had some reserve funds in there, and we hired an architect out of Murray, and we did sensible things that got that building brought back up into really top-notch shape. I mean, it's ready for next, it was built in the middle 50s, and it's good for another 50 now. And we spent, I don't think we even hit $100,000. So in spending over $1 million to get a so-called free building, we did it with $100,000. See, that way we didn't come into the state wage scale, we cut out PAD completely. They didn't have anything to do with it. And we just, our health group just took it on and we did it. So there's an example of what you can do. You can save a ton of money if you keep these small. But if you start going for the grandiose ones, you're going to get state money in it, and then you're going to be dead. You're going to be under their control. But if you stay small, You got a lot more freedom, but it's a super idea.
I got your cell number.
Does the department heads have anything they'd like to say? No?
They're gonna start fixing our street this week.
Okay,
The one that been
good.
digging up. They're gonna start pouring concrete tomorrow, and then they'll start blacktop next week, bringing all these streets up there.
Good deal. Yes, Mr. Bill?
I just want to say about the budget, we haven't said much about the budget at all, but in the last 5 to 6 years, our expenditures have been increasingly growing with respect to our revenues. We've been spending more and more every year and less on our revenues, and this budget is bare bones. It kind of corrects that, begins to put that in balance. But it's going to, as Cub said, we're trying to stop the bleeding. Georgia trying to do some things on our own. It's bare bones, but I'm optimistic that we can live through it.
Well, we're gonna have to, and I apologize for my tardiness. I got caught up at the drugstore, and I haven't said much since we got here, so I don't know necessarily what we missed, but that's, Mr. Milligan's right on target. We, the budget is bare bones. We've got a wonderful city manager now that is coming in with a bare bones budget at an absolute crucial time that we're here to, we've got to do things like George is talking about. We've got to utilize things like Dr. Bill Smith is talking about as well. And and even Ms. Nancy, if you can get Ms. Jane on the phone, that would be tremendous. But we're just, I don't know what was said, and I apologize again for my tardiness, but the point of this meeting was to address some of the concerns that we heard back in April, and even with a budget of where that is just bare bones as it is, we really want to address a lot of these concerns and really make it, figure out some way to make these concerns, some type of impact, with code enforcement, with animal control, all these topics that have been addressed, and it's going to take work from this group up here, from the department heads right there, especially from our new city manager, the mayor, and everyone, everyone that's here tonight, and everyone else. I mean, we're in dire straits, but we're still we're okay, but we're stuck.
Well, we have, in our little clinic, we have an unbelievable number of volunteers. I'm not talking about 20, I'm talking about 60 or more who want to participate. Now, if we can generate that same enthusiasm in our community and try to identify things that are fixable, that people can, with not necessarily a technical background, can help out, that's one of the steps we can easily do. We can easily start that. And so I'll be willing to serve on this committee for our future if you want me to.
Just fill us out an application, give to City Hall.
Pardon?
If you just fill out an application,
Okay.
just write up something, and give it
Okay.
to at City Hall, because I'm sure we'll have to cut and mend and figure out who would be best to serve on this committee.
I would like to see a very diverse group of people on
Sure.
that, and I'd like to see as many applications as possible. And that's me speaking, personally. We haven't really gotten into that necessarily who we're looking for, but I would like to see a diverse group of people, because it's just like George was talking. I serve on the same board, health department, with George, and he spearheaded getting. We were looking at building a new health department, and he spearheaded this other alternative, and it's turned out to be a much better alternative when you look at some of the other counties around us and what they have compared to what we actually have now. And so, yeah, I think we'd love to look at that, Dr. Smith, and we appreciate your offer.
Okay, is there anything else? Anybody got any questions? Commissioners, you have anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn? I'm sorry, Bill. I'm sorry, George.
Fulton Electric next Monday at 5 o'clock is going to be here, and we're going to explain this new metering system, and more importantly, this prepay system that we're instituting down there. And I think this is something that is a huge need for this in the community there, and I hope that you'll show up, and I hope everybody else will. I mean, this is the biggest expenditure Fulton Electric's made in about 12 or 13 years. And we're spending with our own money, we're not going out and borrowing. I mean, that's what we build our reserve funds. As long as we've been here, we build our reserve funds, and we have in the bank the money for doing this work. So 5 o'clock next Monday, if you would. And we're not gonna give up coffee and donuts now.
Okay, thank you, George. Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Martha, second. By Jeff. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Norwood?
Yes.
I would like to know that our Walnut Street is in very bad shape. It's got more potholes than any place left. And it's just like riding over a road.
Oh, we'll get, Bubba, would you check into that for us?
Is that because of a lot of sewer work?
Have they had sewer work up there?
Well, John, it's for the hill, wasn't done all the way up that hill.
Okay,
Okay.
But
okay.
it's on the blacktop, it's Walton Street.
It's on the
It's
blacktop
on the
list,
list.
Ms. Campbell.
What about the yards, the big
It's gonna
mountain?
take more than 2 or 3 weeks to fix it, straighten it up, but it's in bad shape.
We'll definitely get it looked at, Ms. Gamble, get them on it for sure. What about the people's yards that have been messed up as far as the,
They're going back to them too,
They're
and they're
gonna
going
do
to start the repair work, to put everything back.
Okay.
They started it today, man.
okay.
Okay. Anything else? Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Yes.
Commissioner Middleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pratt?
Yes.
Mayor, Bob? Yes. Mayor Moore?